when they ask you a question and your brain is going a bit slow and you need to think, bruh, sip on that water. It's yet another opportunity for you to shine. So send that thank you email. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Dabby and today's video is about job interviews. Now, job interviews are just a part of adult life. The fact is, if you want to change companies, change roles within your current company, moving countries, moving cities, you're going to have to do a job interview at some point in the middle of all of this. Now, I've learned in my experience that job interviewing well is a skill. There's a difference between just going for interviews and interviewing well. Now, there's some tips that I've learned the hard way. There's some tips that other people have told me, and there's some tips I've just learned just over time. So I'm here to share these with you guys today, and I hope you enjoy the video. If you have a job interview and you're watching this, good luck, and I hope you smash it. First and foremost, before anything, the most important thing is be confident. When you go into an interview, you have to give off positive vibes and you have to give off confidence. The truth of the matter is that people don't want to employ people who aren't that confident. Like, you're more likely to employ someone who comes in and they're like, "Hi, my name is Dabby, nice to meet you. I've worked in tech for 6 years." Did you see that? Compared to, "Hi, my name is Dabby and I've worked in tech for 6 years. There's a large part of communication that is just your body language. And if your body language doesn't say confident, doesn't say, "I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm saying," it's really difficult for people to be able to kind of process what you're saying with the mindset of like, this person knows what they're doing, to be honest. And at the end of the day, you have to remind yourself before an interview that the fact that they've called me for this interview means someone has seen something in me. So it's up to me to deliver that. Like, just the fact that they've seen something in you is enough reason for confidence. Make sure you bring a notebook and a pen. Now, obviously it's 2020 and like everyone has a phone or a tablet or something, but it's always good. I think it's just really good interviewing etiquette that if you have to write something down, don't like start bringing out your phone, because they might just think you're texting someone. Like, it might come off as rude, but a notebook can't come off as rude. So you never know, you might have a follow-up question to ask for later. Make sure you write it down. You might meet someone and want to remember their name or role or something. Just get a notebook. It will most likely come in handy. Like, if it doesn't, at least you have it. This tip is a nifty little trick. It's, if anything, even a 2-in-1. Now, when you get to most offices or most interview situations, you're offered water or tea or coffee or something. Always take it. 2 reasons. First of all, it's just nice when someone offers you something and you take it. Like, think about it. Do you really think that they're not gonna hire you because you like drinking tea? Like, just take the damn drink. 2, when they ask you a question and your brain is going a bit slow and you need to think, bruh, sip on that water, sip on that tea. It gives you time. It gives you a few seconds to like load your brain, search your brain for whatever answer you're about to give. Now, before you go into an interview, you obviously know the name of the company you are going to. It is very important that you do research about the company, just background stuff about the company. who founded the company, if there's been any acquisitions, like if your company has been recently acquired, company values, but no basic things about the company, because sometimes they ask you that. You'd be surprised, but sometimes they ask you just to kind of check whether you're going for the job, you care about just getting a job or getting the job at their company. You need to always make sure before you go into any interview, you are as prepared as you could possibly be. It will even help you in, as I keep going back to, your confidence. But I'm gonna break like preparation down into two major things today. So the first one is general interview questions. Now, there are some interview questions that they come up in almost every interview, and you need to be able to answer them properly. Things like, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Why should we hire you? And my favorite, which is always a good way to leave a good impression, is tell me about yourself. Because that particular question is literally them giving you the opportunity to express yourself. Kind of, you could decide to bring your CV to life. You could decide to talk about something that's really passionate to you, but make sure it is to some extent connected to your job interview, because that's why you're there. So the second part of preparing for an interview is preparing for role-specific questions. Now, a very good guideline, I would say, to figure out the kind of questions to expect is going through the job advert. Whatever job advert you have applied for, or even if you haven't applied through a job advert, you can go on the company website and look for one for your role that you're going for. And usually there are a lot of like things that they signify that they want. So whether it's like being very time conscious, whether it's someone who is really good at resolving disputes, things like that. But pick out questions from what you can see there and then answer them. And another really great tip that I would say is when answering questions, situation-based questions in an interview, use the STAR method. Now, the STAR method is situation, task, action, and result. It's kind of a guideline and a way for you to not go on a complete tangent and on a rant, to make sure you have answered the question properly and given like all the possible information. So this one you might think goes without saying, but you'd be surprised how many people don't know. But make sure you arrive early for an interview. If your interview starts at 9, it's meant to start at 9. You're not meant to get there and try to start settling down at 9. Make sure you give yourself about 15-20 minutes beforehand, and then you are seated and ready for 9. Salary expectations. Make sure you go into an interview having an idea of how much you want or expect to be paid. Now, this is a very, very sensitive time when you're asked this, because you could potentially shoot yourself in the foot and you will get underpaid. Like that could potentially happen. So make sure you do a bit of research, go to Glassdoor, figure out what the kind of going market salary is for the role, and give a range. Don't give a specific number, and don't undersell yourself, and also don't be ridiculous. Make sure you have a good number so that even when they try to beat it down, it's not anything that's too low. At some point in almost any interview, there is something that will come up, and it is, do you have any questions? Now, never say no. You have to always have a question. That's just the truth. It's really bad interview etiquette for you to be like, no, I don't have any questions. Like, it kind of almost comes off as like you haven't really prepared for this, or you're not that invested in this. So a good example of like types of questions you can ask questions about like the company culture. It's always a good time to ask questions about the team you're going to be joining, because it doesn't even come up in a lot of interviews. It's also always a good time to ask, golden question, what does success look like in this role? And then they can tell you what they expect from you in the role. Always be prepared for questions you cannot answer. Now, when I say this, apart from my like water sipping trick, you have to think about a way you're going to approach questions you don't understand. So it's always a good idea to ask for clarification around the question that you've been asked. It's also always a good idea to, when you ask for that clarification, even if you don't need it, think about the STAR method again: situation, task, action, and result. And think of at the very least a situation, and then try going down that line and going through that in order to answer the question. After every interview, I personally love doing this, but it is sending out a thank you email or a thank you note, thanking the people who've interviewed you for their time, or thanking them for like whether you've learned something. Thank them for something. You'll find something to thank them for. And this does two things. It, one, shows you are a nice person, shows you are courteous. And the second is it helps people to remember you even better. Now, there's always a possibility multiple people have been interviewed for this role, and by sending in one last email is yet another opportunity for you to shine. So send that thank you email. You're now at the end of the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys learned some very helpful tricks. If you have any other tricks that you think might be helpful to people, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.